What is going on? Thank you guys for tuning in. The secret sauce for today is unsuccessful people make their decisions based on their current situation, while successful people make their decisions based on where they want to be. On the docket today, Ronaldo has scored his 900th soccer goal. This is a GOAT maneuver by all standards. Binance launches an NFT to celebrate this. We have Magic Eden. They have just faced some backlash for their new edition of magiceden.us. We will dive into that. And Bitcoin's 200-day SMA loses bullish momentum. What happened? Are the wheels about to fall off? And Telegram has just updated its policies to allow private chat moderation after Pavel's arrest. Analysis predict price movements for Polygon, Bitcoin, Solana, and Toncoin. We're going to break down some technicals. And critical jobs market came in today, and the market did not like that. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov has finally been released, and he has released some comments saying that he is surprised with the French investigation. Veteran trader Peter Brandt identifies bearish patterns in the Bitcoin chart, and John Deaton finally wins the Republican primary. His quest is to dethrone Elizabeth Warren. WCoin is going to mint a token on Ton after a player vote. They had choices between Ton, Solana, and Ethereum. Bored Ape Yacht Club, they are down 93% off of their peak value. Solana is going through some crazy volatility off of a pump.fund sell-off that happened yesterday. NVIDIA stock plummets. Why did it plummet? Because there is a Department of Justice antitrust probe. We are going to get into all of the things. Chaos to clarity, noise to narrative. It is Friday. It is September 4th, and it is time for some rare bets. Today, the crypto greed and fear index has slid 5 degrees. We are coming in at a 22, now in the extreme fear zone. My guess is we will be down even further tomorrow. Bitcoin dominance on the 24 hours is down. So is Ethereum dominance. Total crypto market cap has been reduced by about 1.13%, coming in at $2.018 trillion. Total volume is up over the 24 hours, and a lot of that is over liquidations. Top crypto search term is Starknet. It's also the ticker sign, STARKNET. It is up 8% on the 7-day. We're going to get a current price on that in a moment. And we have 60 days until the election. And this just in, hackers have just dumped $42.7 million worth of stolen Ethereum into Tornado Cash. This is all post Wazer X hack that happened not too long ago. So we are going to get into some more news. But before we do, let us check the numbers for the nerds and see what we have going on. And as you can see, we have an absolute sea of red. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. What are we talking about? On the hour, Bitcoin is down 4.6%, coming in at $53,981. Ethereum, $2,247, also down 6%. BNB down 7%. Coming in at $488. Solana has slid down to $127. It has been a bit more resilient than some of these other blockchains. Looking at my list, let's see, you know what, and this is, I do like this. So on the day, the only thing that is up on the day is Sui, Helium, and Toncoin. And yesterday, my call for the day at the end of the day was to pick up some Helium. So I did just that, and it is up 6% on the day when everything else is really not going too, it's not drastic, but it's not going absolutely well. We're going to get into some of the things that brought the market down. As far as liquidations go, we have about $1.61 million worth of liquidations. That's less by about 2.9% over the last 24 hours. And DEX volume, our decentralized exchange volume, is coming in at $3.847 billion for the 24-hour period. That is interesting because that's about a 16% increase in this last day, right? Across the week, we are down 18%. So it's interesting watching how the end of this week kind of spurges, or is it the beginning of September? Top coins that people have been searching for, I mentioned it earlier, is Starknet, ticker sign STRK. It is actually up 14.4%. That is the current price. Top 20 most visited coins in the last 7 days. We have Blum, Dogs, Toe Market, Bitcoin, and Toncoin. Keep these on your radar. They are all interesting for their own reasons. Top meme coins by market capitalization. At the moment, everything is in the red. Bonk looks like is down the most, down about 5.69%, followed by, I would say, Doge, Pepe, and Shiba. Everybody's down about 3 to 5%, but that's how things go. Now, we are going to check in on Polymarket. So these are some of the latest things. Do we see Solana get above $130 on the 13th of September? These are really specific dates and time signatures that people are betting on. It is really interesting. More importantly, there is new news. I guess we'll get into it in a second. So I think if you guys follow my Substack, the other day I just did some tinkering around on the Bitcoin chart. And at that time, I think we were priced at about $58,000. And I pointed out that if we fall to this $54,000 zone and hit this impact zone, my fear is that our next bounce and impact zone is going to be about $48,800. And that is going to be absolutely critical. And then today, I wanted to break down some of the price movement over the last week. So at the beginning of the week, we had a nice bump in price as Jerome Powell addressed the Jackson Hole Symposium in Wyoming. People liked what he had to say. Then as that week kind of maneuvered on, some dialect change, some things changed, and then we got news of a potential Federal Reserve interest rate hike. So that brought the price of Bitcoin down, and it continued to slide. We have a bunch of geopolitical issues that we're also dealing with. As price continued to go down, NVIDIA, their price absolutely got slashed. And this actually sent the crypto market up for a moment, but it quickly coiled with that news and began to slide. And then as we continue on in the week, we run into the Nikkei drops as the Japanese stock plummeted. So all of these things globally are continuing to drive our price down. And then we get into today. We had the U.S. jobs report and a declining unemployment rate. The jobs report was actually not bad, but the declining unemployment rate, there's some things that set things off in not a good direction. Now, this 48,800 zone, this is really important. I said in my Substack that we're going to need some sort of external push to, in my opinion, get things back on track. And I was hoping it was going to come in a political form, but that may have backfired. And we're going to talk about some things that have just happened, I believe, in the last hour or so. So some big news that is also affecting our markets, and just things that are interesting. This is going to play into gun control and the debates that are upcoming. There was a 14-year-old kid. His name was Colt Gray. He was charged in a Georgia shooting. He shot several people, injured quite a few people. What is more interesting is his father purchased him that rifle when he was 14 years old for Christmas, I believe. His father is now facing 184 years in prison as basically an accessory to murder. So that is really interesting and tragic for all of these families that were involved to have to deal with this. Beetlejuice 2 coming out. It is the long-awaited sequel. We're going to see not only Michael Keaton, but Winona Ryder all appear in the film. So I'm super excited. I think Tim Burton breathes life into is interesting and exciting. Now, in August 2024, the U.S. job growth showed slight improvement. 142,000 new jobs were added, while the unemployment rate dipped to 4.2%. Despite this, the labor market remains sluggish, and it raises concerns about the Federal Reserve interest rate discussion. So this is the Polymarket look at who will be in the White House. And Trump has dropped 4 points in the last couple of hours. So supposedly he has a hearing going on that is not going particularly well. I think he made some comments that were not received well. And it might be one of those things where he put his foot in his mouth by speaking, and it might come back to bite him. So I don't know the entire story, but I do know that the betting market reacted swiftly to it. And I find that interesting. We also, in the last 24 hours, have seen the Bitcoin price drop 3.7%, almost the same amount of favoritism that Kamala has picked up. So as it's more likely that she will be in the White House, the Bitcoin price seems to go down. So this is all an interesting metric that we're watching. Biggest gainers in the last 24 hours. We have WNXM, DSYNC, Wrapped AVAX, Wrapped Matic, and SUI on the plus side. Popcat, Mogcoin, Jito, Zcash, and Terra Classic were all hurting for certain. Talking about Ronaldo, he has reached the monumental milestone with his 900th professional goal in football. He further solidifies he's the GOAT. We have Kelly Slater in surfing, Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, King James, right? Who is the GOAT? Is there one sport that requires more skill than any other, and proficiency in said sport does prove you to be the absolute king of the hill? Or would it be somebody like John Jones or Mighty Mouse? Just legends of absolute mastery of what they do. Anyway, Ronaldo, Binance has gotten together. They have released several NFTs with Ronaldo throughout the last couple of years. They have not missed a beat with this. And I started thinking about this, and there are a lot of NFTs. You know what? There are a lot of baseball cards as well. Now think of this. I started thinking about future forward and kids that might be interested in collecting this. So it goes through basically all of Ronaldo's goals. Goal 649, he did a bicycle kick, and there's a story and an associated video, and it's a digital commemorative of this specific goal. Just like a trading card. Now, let's go future forward 10 years. Think of all the collectors that are going to collect this. Now, think of people that might have lost interest, or that lost their wallet, or forgot what email their password is, or just misplaced the seed phrase. It could be any number of things. Because there's a ton of these now does not mean all of these collections will survive. Granted, they're digital, they have a much better possibility of surviving, but loss, theft, human error, these things are going to play into quantity moving forward. So I find this interesting, and I do find that a digital collectible is still worth collecting. So I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of just the madness that is behind it, the popularity that Ronaldo brings to absolutely everything he does. It's fantastic. I went through and watched a bunch of these goals, and he's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Magic Eden, they are getting a bunch of backlash. They have always been magiceden.io. This morning I logged in and they said, you cannot go there anymore. We're sending you to magiceden.us. So the segregation is seen as a response to the increasing US regulatory pressure that is coming down the pike on so many levels. Again, does this stuff lighten up if we get Trump in the White House? I believe it does. Is Trump going to be able to make it to the White House? I think he will. I think this is just good TV. Between now and November 6th, it's good TV. So that's how I'm looking at all of the stuff that is unfolding. We do have, keep in mind, OpenSea received a Wells notice. So I believe a lot of these other marketplaces, Hyperspace just decided to shut down. I think they're effective the 19th or something, but they set out their announcement. We covered it on the podcast a couple days ago. It's interesting stuff. Magic Eden is not a US-based company, so it is very different than OpenSea. Watching them navigate this usual time that we're dealing with, it's interesting. We also have to keep in mind that Magic Eden has a bunch of these diamonds. How is it going to affect US residents, European residents? What happens with the diamonds, baby? And when are those due? Next up, we are looking at some of the things that Pavel and his team are dealing with. So Telegram has updated its policy to allow moderation of private chats following Pavel's detainment. What does that mean? If all of these chats are private to anybody that is in the chat, the new feature basically is if you are in a chat and there is illegal activity, you can push a button and a moderator will be notified from Telegram. And by pushing that button, I believe it gives the moderator the ability to look at that chat. So it's probably smart. And hopefully it takes some of the heat off of Telegram to say that because illicit activity happens on it, it can't be used is ridiculous. Think of guns and bullets. Think of cars and drunk drivers. There's so many applications where it just doesn't hold water, these arguments that they're making around his detention. So hopefully this will not be something that bogs down the entire industry. Next up, Ali Martinez. He has some absolutely great charts. He is looking at Polygon Ethereum. He's saying some absolute fabulous things are going to happen. It is in my Substack if you want to deep dive and pick on some of these tokens. And what I always like to do is pick some of these tokens, look at the technicals on them, and then do some of your own research and find some foundational information and figure out your thesis for why these things might play out in the future. It is a super interesting story to uncover. And when you're looking at technical data to back up your fact-finding mission, when you delve into some of these tokens, you can be pleasantly surprised and find things that make sense. And wow, I am going to put some money on this because this seems like it's going to work out over the next 2 or 3 months or 6 months. These are tools to help you get into this safely and effectively without losing all your moolah. Real Vision analyst Jamie Coots, he is also in harmony thinking that Bitcoin is going to have a good Q4. Everybody is worried about the geopolitical issues at the time, but most of us expect these things to just continue moving forward as the world seems to do just about always. Jamie also suggests that altcoins, which have seen significant pullbacks, may break out before current cycle ends, driving rising liquidity and market momentum in Q4 and early 2025. Toncoin and Notcoin, two absolute gigachads on the Telegram ecosystem. It seems they're having quite a little bullish recovery following Pavel being released from detainment. Despite the recent rebound, over 80% of investors still remain down on these tokens. Anyway, this is going to be really interesting how this plays out. Is this new update enough to cocoon them from further scrutiny and security activities? Peter Brandt, a veteran trader, has identified an inverted expanding triangle pattern in Bitcoin's price chart, suggesting a potential drop to around $46,000, representing a 17% decline from its current price. He emphasizes that for a bullish reversal, Bitcoin needs to rise to $74,000 to kick up enough momentum to keep that trend going, a 32% increase from where we are now. Brandt's analysis indicates that at the current market sentiment, which is bearish, we have selling pressure, overweight buying. It is not a good Friday. If you are still craving crypto clarity, please subscribe to my Substack. Warning, rare bits may cause hodling.